Okay, hello everybody and welcome to this webinar about the NEM College Challenge. My name is Erica and I have on the line my team members Becky and Jonathan. We are part of the team that organizes National Engineering Month in Ontario, and as you might know, that is a team effort amongst a number of different organizations, including OSET, Professional Engineers Ontario, Engineers Without Borders Canada, and the Ontario Society of Professional Engineers. So we're assuming if you're on this call, you are either a college student or somehow affiliated with OSET. Thank you so much for joining us, and we're really glad that you want to be part of the College Challenge. So today we're going to give you a really quick overview of National Engineering Month, or NEM as we call it, the goals of the challenge in general, and then how we've done on meeting those goals since we started doing this in 2014. A little bit about the judging. We know that's the meat of the presentation. That's what you're all here to learn about, as well as expectations for the competition and a few other details there. We're going to give you some hints about some of the best things that we've learned about doing good outreach from previous years and what you can learn as well, and then we'll leave some time for Q&A at the end. So, sorry, I'm skipping ahead of myself here. Let's see if I can go back. So, in 2016, so National Engineering Month was just about a year ago now. Hard to believe that now that we're in late February that it's almost been a year, even though 2016 doesn't feel very far away. We ran a total of 305 events across Ontario. Now, National Engineering Month, as the name suggests, does occur all across Canada, but when we talk about National Engineering Month, we mostly just focus on the province of Ontario. So we want to, fundamentally, we want to change the narrative around engineering and technology. We think a lot of people don't know really enough about how engineering and technology affect us. They don't know much about the people who work in those fields, and they may be, you know, despite the fact that technology and engineering are everywhere around us in our society and play a vital role in, you know, the various aspects of the quality of life that we enjoy, people really don't understand very much about it. So we want to raise awareness and we want to inspire the next generation, because the kids that are out there today, they are the ones that are going to grow up and help us solve some of the biggest problems in the world. So that's why our target audience is mainly young people. Of the 35,000 people that came out to in-person events last year, just over half of them were young people, grades K to 8. And these 35,000 people were present at events. They showed up to design competitions. Some of them built bridges. Some of them programmed things. Some of them tried their hand at designing and building solar-powered vehicles. There were just so many different things that happened during National Engineering Month 2016. And we really think that the heart of what we do in terms of raising people's awareness and inspiring them really is about that one-on-one conversation. So of all of the people that made those events happen across the province, those 305 events, the vast majority of those people were volunteers. They are engineering and technology students and professionals who are just passionate about what they do, and they want to pay it forward and help the next generation understand the opportunities and the exciting stuff that we get to do as engineers and technicians and technologists. So beyond that in-person, which is really at the heart in National Engineering Month, those in-person events where you get to see the look in someone's eye and give them a chance to try something with their own hands, that's pretty exciting. We also have an online campaign. We have stuff that we drive through our website and through magazines and also AM radio. So you add up all the rest of the audience, and there's about another 6.5 million people there that we influenced. And at the core of that are these people that we met in person. So we're hoping that in 2017 we're going to surpass some of these numbers. Maybe not all of them, but we are definitely going to give it a shot. We do think there's going to be as many or maybe more events happening across Ontario, all thanks to volunteers. So this is a good time to say that one of the fastest growing parts of National Engineering Month has been the part of it that is organized by college students. And this was our team last year that was there from Centennial College, and they ran a terrific event called Engineering Facing the Future. They did a really nice job pulling together a bunch of speakers and industry representatives to give some people a really good, hands-on idea of what engineering and technology is all about. We're going to talk about that a little more, but the point here is that they received this big check, this funny representation of their prize money, and a one-year OSET student membership. So of all of those volunteers that are putting on those 305 events across the province, a chunk of them were college students because of the way that we decided we wanted to invite college students to get involved, and we wanted to have a really good representation of what it means to sign up and become a technologist or a technician. I think some people are pretty familiar with the university route, and some parents, without having all the facts about the options that their kids have, may sort of default toward that path without understanding the variety of paths and options that there are for their kids. So we really see this as an important part of National Engineering Month, is raising awareness of engineer. You could be a technician or a technologist and work on those same important problems and do really, really important work. So all that to say that we wanted college students to start speaking up and teaching young people about what they were learning and inspiring them. And so we invited them to host National Engineering Month events. We said, you know what, you have to put on a National Engineering Month event. It can be anything you want as long as it goes along with the theme of the campaign and the goals of the campaign, and we'll talk about that a little further. We give you some money, we give you a whole bunch of resources and how-tos, and if you are selected and ranked as the top ranking team in the challenge, you will get this cash prize and a free OSET student membership for all of your team members for the year. So all of that is sort of like the icing on the cake, I would say, or the cherry on top of the icing on the cake. The prize money is nice, the big check is nice, the recognition is nice, but something we wanted everybody to just take a step back and think about was the fact that when you are part of National Engineering Month, when you go into a classroom or into a community center or a library or wherever it is that you're holding your event, and you put on and you explain to some young people what it is that you're doing as an engineering technology student, you're already having an impact. You're already shaping the future of someone's decision-making in someone's life, and that is really the most incredible and most important part. It's really, it's nice to get the prize money, but it's really about the bigger picture of the impact that we're all creating together. And, as an organizer of a National Engineering Month event, there's quite a lot to think about, right? So you've got some project management experience there, handling all of those details. You're networking with people. You are learning from professionals in your industry because we make you work with your OSET chapter. That is one of our goals, is that you work with the technicians and technologists that are already in the OSET chapter to understand what's going on in their workplaces and in the industry. You get that insight into the world beyond what you're doing right now in school. And I know that when I was an engineering student, I certainly had no idea what the day-to-day work would be like once I graduated. I didn't have much of an opportunity to talk to people that were, just that 5 or 10 years ahead of me on the path doing their thing in industry. And whenever I had a chance to hear a speaker or go to an event and talk to a professional, I just ate up that chance because that was really like a glimpse into my future. So this is something that you gain as well as an organizer, a student organizer of an event. You get the chance to talk to these professionals, and we encourage you to ask them lots of questions, just really pick their brain. I'm sure that they're going to be happy to give you a sense of what it is that you are working toward and what their career path has been like. Another thing that's really good to remember is that you are showing leadership by doing this outreach work. You're contributing to the future and doing these extracurricular type activities that require some leadership and some experience, some project management and some communication and marketing to go along with all those great technical skills that you're getting in college. Those are often the sorts of things that will set your resume apart from someone else's and may involve you getting promoted and getting a job that you might otherwise be overlooked for. So there's a really nice practical payback for doing all this, as well as the feel-good factor of knowing that you're making a difference to the children. That's also good, right? Lots of different things. So we encourage you not just to focus on the big check or the free OSET student membership. We would love to give everybody a big check. Unfortunately, we do not have unlimited funds to do that, but there are plenty of non-financial rewards associated in participating with the challenge, no matter how you end up getting ranked. So if you've come this far, you probably already know that we can have up to 5 people per student team, and some of our colleges have multiple teams in the running in the 2017 challenge, which we think is just so cool. One of our goals was to get OSET connected to the students and to the colleges in their region, and so we encourage that. In fact, we mandate that connection between the student organizers and the OSET chapter, and they're also encouraged to get support from their college in the form of their administrators or their professors or their staff or anyone else that wants to get on board and be part of what the students are working on in NEM. So as I mentioned, we really wanted to make sure that OSET, so that's the association that represents the engineering technicians and technologists, was connecting in with the colleges. They have a program called the Student Liaison Program. They do outreach. They talk about the value of your CET designation, that sort of thing. This is another opportunity for OSET to get connected to the colleges. And so far, happy to say this year 10 colleges signed up to get involved with the NEM College Challenge. And I think we have Confederation, who was on board in previous years but not last year. They came back to us this year. And then we had Mohawk come on board for the first time. So as I mentioned, some of these teams, multiple student teams represented on them, which again shows that leadership and that enthusiasm that the students have. And we're really proud and really glad that you're making time out of your busy schedules to be part of the College Challenge. So as far as the big picture, just going to step back to that one more time and then we'll get into the details. We're bringing engineering and technology to life. These concepts sound very, sort of out there or maybe sort of mechanical or impersonal or robotic to members of the general public. They don't really understand what engineering and technology are or who's behind it. So when you step up and you put your face to in front of them and you say, I'm an engineering technology student, or I'm a CET, a technology professional, this is what that means, and this is how I do what I do, and this is why it matters. We've got some really cool profiles on our National Engineering Month blog, which we encourage you to check out. One of them is a certified engineering technologist that works on the control systems of trains here in Ontario. Now, that's not something a lot of us maybe would have thought of unless you're studying control systems. He's an electrical CET, and what it means basically is to say that when he does his job correctly, the trains run more safely and more efficiently, and that impacts all of our quality of life. We get the goods that we need. They come across Canada or across a continent even to get to where we need them, and they do so safely and efficiently. So we really owe people like that, people like Robert, the guy who designed the train control system and operates and works on it. That is just so important. So there's an example of someone who's working on something that we all sort of take for granted. It's a little bit invisible, but we can bring awareness to it by telling these stories. So anyway, our method primarily is, I mentioned the website, but primarily we're doing this by putting on those in-person events, and that's what we're going to focus on here today. So more so than, say, giving people a complete rundown of how an HVAC system works, or making them experts in circuit boards or nanotechnology or whatever your field of study might be. The idea is not to bring them along and tell them everything you know. The idea is to bring them into an awareness, because we want to make sure that they're interested. We want to make sure that they look at it and they go, oh, okay, I get that. You want to give them enough detail so that they understand it and they can go, ah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, I see how that could be. And that might involve simplifying your language and taking your level of detail down quite a bit. And that's a good thing. That is a good skill to have, because when you graduate and you get into the workplace and you've got to pitch something to an executive level person who doesn't have the same technology background that you do or the same engineering background, you're going to need to learn how to simplify. So consider this really great practice for those career-making moments. You know, if you can get your idea across, you do in a very simple way that's going to be interesting and appealing and energizing to someone who understands, because I think a lot of people, they're very phobic about engineering or technology or math, and they get intimidated. So if you can be friendly, be approachable, be enthusiastic about what you do and explain it in a way that they can get it, that's going to make a big difference. We do encourage you, however, to challenge your audience. You want to take them along with you on some of the trickier parts of the job and say, you know, something we haven't figured out yet, for example, is how to make renewable energy storable. You know, this is really a tricky thing. We have it, but we don't necessarily we're not able to store it, and here's sort of a little bit of the background about that. So they sort of understand, again, appropriate level of detail, but you're bringing them along and helping them you know, give them sort of a mystery or a little something that they might stay in touch with and continue to follow in the news or their own research going forward. And again, if you're giving them, especially if you're giving them a hands-on activity, something that they feel challenged by, they're going to be, but then they ultimately triumph and they figure it out, they're going to be confident and proud, and they're going to come back later for more. We know that we might not be able to sell them completely on the idea of studying engineering or technology in one afternoon or in one workshop, but you can certainly open their minds and make them think, I actually like this. This was pretty cool. You know, maybe that math and science stuff isn't so scary as I thought, now that I see the purpose of it and I understand that there's something in it that I can do. So that is ultimately what we're trying to create when we're talking about our National Engineering Month events. And now Becky is going to take us through some of the details of how we're going to measure how you do that. And that is something that we call judging. I just want to highlight that we're not saying judge in like a negative or critical way. We're looking to judge to value what it is that you're doing, to make sure that we're giving you the credit that is due for all the hard work that you're putting into your event, so that we can rank you as highly as possible amongst all of the other events and make sure you end up with the ranking you deserve. So over to you, Becky.
Thanks, Erica. So thanks for all that great sort of introduction and behind-the-scenes big picture thinking around NEM. Before I even get into the sort of technical side of the judging process, I just want to encourage you to remember that what we're really doing is trying to make sure that we're using this process as a way to measure how we're doing with getting to that big picture, and ultimately the success of the National Engineering Month campaign and the quality of the events. And we want to see that that continues to maintain and even grow and improve as we go from year to year. So on to some of the details with the judging process. So first of all, what are you evaluated on? So there's a bunch of different things you can see up on the slide here. Try to list them in order of importance, but I don't want to say that's not it's more of a rule of thumb here. So the first one on the list is messaging. So obviously up at the top, messaging is a key element to the success of your events and the alignment of the messaging that goes with the NEM campaign. So I'll talk some more about messaging. Incorporating the NEM theme. So if you're not familiar with it, hopefully you are, but the theme this year for National Engineering Month is There Is a Place for You. So looking at how you've taken that idea and incorporated it into your events in creative and amazing ways. Participant engagement. So this is where we are looking for all that stuff Eric was talking about. So that excitement and the energy and the sparks that in the eyes of all the participants that you will see as you're bringing to life the whole idea behind what is engineering and technology, and hopefully getting some of those aha moments where people are going, okay, now I get it, or wow, that's cool, that kind of feeling happening. Collaboration with OSET. So Erica touched on this as well. One of the goals with the, specific to the OSET College Student Challenge, was to strengthen that connection between OSET chapters and the local colleges. So we want to make sure we're measuring that and making sure that the contest or this part of the campaign is moving in that right direction, which based on what we're seeing right now, it is. And then event planning. So again, there's just the kind of, I'll call it day-to-day, or the right now it's day-to-day because we're getting so close to a lot of the events, but all the behind the scenes that's going on, that goes on to set your events up for success and have a great day, or whatever it is, a few days in some cases. There's a lot of work that happens there. So we want to know what you're doing behind the scenes to make sure that you are setting yourselves up for success. We want to maybe get some tips and tricks that we can share with other teams the next years, and also get you thinking about the things that you need to do. They're going to apply for not only organizing your NEM event, but this is going to be able to be translated to many things that will come up in your work lives and probably your home lives as well. A little hint bubble at the side here. So we want you, again, to think about how you can enhance the experience that your participants will have at your event. So try and keep that big picture thinking in mind. We want to, these events are well, experiences for the people attending, and we want to, what we've tried to do is use a few different tools to collect the data to be able to illustrate how that experience has translated to them. So what we will do is I'll walk you through the different ways that we are collecting that data from you, but I just wanted to highlight that is what you should be keeping in mind as you are filling out all this information, how you can illustrate the success of your events and transfer that the feelings that happened and all the excitement that happened, because we can't always be at all of the events. Logistically, it's a bit challenging for us, so really important to keep that in mind as you're filling everything out. So the next section is on the data collection. So documentation for us is really critical. As I mentioned, we can't be at all the events, so we're relying on you, the team organizers, the team leads, your volunteers, and your participants to document, to fill forms out, to take pictures. I will go through all the different elements in more detail, but we're relying on you to be able to pull that all that information together for us so we can have a clear picture of what happened on the day of your event. And we're standardizing the process, so sort of we're trying to make sure that the playing field is level for everybody so that we can evaluate all the teams fairly. So the first tool we have, or part of the judging process we have, is the scorecards. If you have run a NEM event in previous years, you might be familiar with the scorecards. I want you to think of the scorecards as multi-purpose tools. So yes, they are a key element in the way that we judge the events, but it can do some other things for you too. So it can help you plan your event with the checklists that are embedded into the scorecards themselves. So this is going to give you all the things you need to consider while you're planning your event, during your event, even after your event. So use the checklists so that you don't miss anything. You can also use it as a reminder or a bit of a hint on what different elements carry more weight than other things. So, for example, messaging. As I was saying in the last slide, I tried to put the things that you're evaluated on in sort of order of importance, and messaging was at the top. With the scorecards, you can see the weight that is given to each of the different elements. So it just gives you a bit of an idea of where to spend more time. So, for example, with messaging, that's an area where you really want to talk through, have a discussion with your team, spend the time to make sure that you've got your messaging, it's going to come through in your event, you've thought about all the different ways, come up with some creative ideas, and that's where you want to spend that time on messaging versus some of the lower weighted elements that you can be ranked on with your scorecards. It also helps us collect data that we use for the overall NEM campaign. So at the end of National Engineering Month, we pull together data from all the events happening all across Ontario, and we use that to put together a record of achievement that we share. It's available online. You can go and see the one from last year. It's available on the NEM Ontario website. But again, we want to continue to ensure that we are growing and maintaining a level of quality with our events, and keeping a continuous improvement kind of mindset where we are looking at where there's opportunities. So the data that we're pulling from your scorecards is critical in helping us put all that together. And then it's just, again, a way for you to tell us how you did on your event. So this is, from your perspective, these are self-evaluation scorecards. You tell us how you think you did on your event. So we are trusting that you will rank yourselves fairly. I know personally, whenever I have to rank myself on anything, I tend to be a little bit hard on myself. So we do have some checks and balances in place to kind of normalize that data. This is just a quick snapshot of one of the sections of the scorecards. If you're looking for more information on how to fill out the scorecards, we did a full webinar on filling out of the scorecards. So I would encourage you to go back and review that webinar. The replay is available on the nemontario.ca website. The link is right there. It's just the Outreach Resources tab. Go ahead, please check that out. And another hint for you, if you're looking to kind of take advantage of all the information that we do have available on the website, to get maybe ahead of some of the other teams that you're competing with, there are multiple webinars available on the Outreach Resources section. So they are there for you. Please review them. If you're worried about time, we have the slide decks just themselves available so you can skim through them quickly. We even have webinars that are available from previous years that you can go through to look for other ways that you can ensure you're setting yourself up for a successful event. So the next element that we use for documenting the events is called the event feedback form. So this is a new requirement this year. And what we're using it for is, multiple things. So one of the things we're using it for is to assess OSET engagement. So again, we spoke about one of the goals of the College Student Challenge being to strengthen that connection between OSET chapters and the local colleges. We really think that this is a great way to do that. So big hint for you there, team members, team leads. Invite lots of OSET members. They're going to be excited to come to your events. They're going to be excited to see what's going on, to get involved in National Engineering Month. So make sure you're reaching out to those OSET members. If you have any questions about how to do that, hopefully you still have the information that we provided with all your college liaison, so they should be able to help you with that. And you have connected with your OSET chapters to receive your funding as well. So you should have some contacts within your local OSET chapters to be able to make those connections and send out those invites. So hint, hint, invite lots of OSET members. The other thing we're using the event feedback forms for is to validate your scorecard evaluation. So I mentioned that your scorecards are a self-evaluation, and this is one of the checks and balances we use to see how you are doing with that score. So the elements that are on the event feedback form do align with the things you are evaluating yourself on the scorecards. So it just gives us a way to see if there's alignment. So for example, if you think you did really poorly on messaging and you weren't happy that the messages you were trying to convey came through, so you ranked yourself really low on messaging, we would look to the event feedback forms to see how the participants were what their perception was of messaging. And they, even though you maybe didn't think it came through, they may have a totally different perception. So if there's discrepancies there, that's just a flag for us to ask some questions and maybe dig a little deeper to get some data on what actually happened there. So providing external feedback on those key elements. So as I mentioned, the messaging, all the different things that are built into the scorecards it's another way for us to get information on all those key elements. So the way the feedback forms are set up, we're asking for qualitative comments, we're asking for sort of a 1 to 10 scale ranking, but it's another way for the data to be compiled and documented, and the picture of sort of the whole picture of the event of the day to be communicated to us on another level. And as I was just saying, forming a complete picture of your event. So with the scorecards, gives us a little bit of data. The feedback forms give us some more data. So you can start to see we're just really compiling as much information as we can about all the events so that we can ensure we have the full picture. Okay, so this is, oops, sorry about that. My computer's got a bit of a lag on it. There we go. So this is just a screenshot of the this is the first page, I believe, of the feedback form. So there are actually, I think there's 5 or 6 different sections. So you can see we've got event description here, energy level and attendance, and messaging. So this is a form the form that would be printed out by the team lead, or you would designate somebody to print out this form. It will be available on the website. So these need to be made available at your event, and make sure you have some pens and pencils handy as well. You would hand these out to the participants at the event, so they'll give their name and chapter if they're part of an OSET chapter. If we can collect their OSET member number, that's great as well. We love connecting with as many people as we can. And then we're going to ask them, the first thing we're going to ask them to do is tell us about the event. So what did the event include? Was it a speaker series? Was it a design competition? Was it some other innovative type of event? The reason we do this is we get the event descriptions provided by you, and we use those to create your event listings, for example, and just give us a bit of insight into what your event is about. But we like to get the perspective from all the people that are involved. And so if we can reach out to the actual attendees of the event and ask for their input, then sometimes we can get different different things that maybe you didn't think to tell us that they'll include. Maybe something really jumped out at them that they really liked. So just, again, a way for us to keep building on the picture of what is happening during your event. With energy level and attendance, I believe I have a slide next. Yes, I do. So some of the things that are good to consider with energy level and attendance are small volunteer to participant ratios. So if you're doing some hands-on activities, just making sure you have people available to handle the amount of participants that you're expecting for your event. It just is going to give more of that one-on-one personal experience. It gives you a chance to really connect with the participants, to tell the stories you want to tell, and develop that experience that we were talking about and looking for at these events. Asking and answering lots of questions is another way that we can assess energy level. Age-appropriate language. Erica was already talking about sort of not going overboard on the details. So to be able to explain something to someone who is a child is a unique skill that takes some practice sometimes, but not going overboard on the details is a great way to get started and think about how you can convey the messages that you're trying to convey to your particular audience. As I mentioned, hands-on activities, touching and feeling it just adds a whole nother element to your event. So you will see the energy level change when people are able to touch and feel the different things that you have available. I was at Winterlude this weekend, and I had my kids with me, and they were walking around, and it was some sort of science center type thing set up. I don't remember the name of it right now, but it was near the end of the day, so they were all kind of tired and getting hungry, but they had this pegboard set up with all these different like funnels and tubes and marbles and things, and my kids just lit up. I couldn't get them away from it. It was all they could do to just get right in there, play around, touch, feel, see what happened when they turn one tube one way and put a funnel a different way. So it just adds a whole other element to your events that you are going to see a difference in energy level for sure. And discussion. So, we talked about keeping the language age appropriate, but sometimes it takes a little bit to pull that discussion out, to get it going. So this is one of the things you can do to plan in advance. Think of some questions you could have sort of in your back pocket if you've got a really quiet audience or a quiet little group of people. Think of some questions that would get them thinking, would warm them up a little bit. Maybe something trendy that you think that they'll be into right now. And just being friendly about it is going to encourage them to get that discussion going and improve the energy level happening at your event. And then messaging. So the third item on the event form that we're reviewing right now is messaging. So again, we are asking the participants of your events to tell us how they think you did with the messages. So they don't have to memorize them. The messages themselves are on the form, so they can look at it. It's sort of like a circle which ones apply type of a form that they fill out, and we've got it all listed there to make it easy for them. But again, just to drive home the point, messaging, one of the most important things we're looking for with the quality of the events that you're going to be putting on So just to quickly remind everyone what those messages are. So the first one here is about diversity of thinkers. There's a place for you. So that was the theme of the campaign this year. So that one is a fun one to play around with, and considering how you know, the participants of your event may not have been interested in engineering or technology, but how can we set things up for them in a way that might change the way that they think about it. Engineering and technology shaping the world around us, a really fun one, thinking about all the things that we touch and use and feel every day, and how engineering and technology impacts those things. So really it's impacting all of us every day, and how the things we're doing today are going to impact the world that we will see tomorrow and in the future. And then creativity and imagination, turning ideas into reality. So fun to think about the creative ideas that we can apply to engineering and technology, and not think of it as sort of sitting at your desk and crunching numbers all day, but taking a step back. Again, going back to that experience we want to create for all the participants that are at the event, and building that creativity and imagination, and creating that link in their minds that you can be creative and experience the world of engineering technology at the same time. And then the last one there is around the safety, health, and happiness element, making a world of difference. So thinking about the different things that engineers and technicians and technologists are doing every day, and how all their work goes into everybody's safety, health, and happiness, all their friends and family and neighbors, and looking at it from that big global and local perspective of the people around. And then for that event feedback form, the next three sections, the last three sections that we're asking the participants to fill out, so there's theme and visual representation, strength of the event, and representing OSET. So with theme and visual representation, kind of speaks for itself. So we are looking for the people filling out the form, the participants at your events. We're looking for them to tell us what they see. So do you see T-shirts worn by all the organizers or volunteers, or how are they kind of identified, and what are they using to make sure that to sort of differentiate themselves from the crowd? Are there NEM posters up and around, and what other creative ways have you chosen to visually represent the messages and themes that you are incorporating into your events? And then we're asking them to tell us about some ideas around what were some of the strengths of the event. So we like to give feedback to the teams themselves. We like to share that feedback. We encourage you to go and look at other people's ideas. Erica's going to tell you a little bit about where you can find all this information to go back and look at things that we've seen in previous years, but this information we need from the people that are there. So the people that are there, tell us about what you see. So what are some of the things that this team did really well? Was there something that surprised you, something unexpected? So you can see some of the examples in the screenshot we have here. We're calling this the best in. So one team really did well by showcasing an array of guest speakers and educators. They celebrated the industry really well. There was another team that engaged elementary students in the classroom, encouraged design and creativity. So we really want to give you the positive feedback, and we need this form to pull that data, to collect that data, document all of the amazing things that are happening. And then representing OSET. So again, we've already spoken about it. One of the goals of this challenge is to strengthen that connection between the OSET chapters and the colleges themselves. Some students may not even be aware that there is a professional association that they will belong to when they graduate. So this is just an opportunity where we can get the word out, we can help make that change, we can help that with that communication. So we want to evaluate how well we're doing with that. So we're asking the participants to let us know how did the team do with representing OSET? Are there signs up and around, or some other way that you've chosen to represent the OSET connection? But that information is also obtained from that form. Now, the post-event info packet is also a new requirement this year. So there are 4 things that go into the post-event info packet. These are on the website, so I'm going to try and go over them in a good amount of detail, but I want to take too much of your time because I know I've been talking for a long time now. So if you have any questions, this information is all available on the website. Also, again, a recap of the webinar will be available on the website if you want to go back and have a look at it. But again, there are 4 elements that are necessary in the post-event info packet. The first one is a recap. So we're looking for something that's written in a journalistic style describing your event. We want a minimum of 100 to 200 words. So just shouldn't take you too long, but something that you, like a descriptive kind of passage that can detail what your event was all about. And then photos, please. We love getting pictures. We've said here 2 to 3 high-res photos with captions. We need the full names of the people in the photos, and one of those has to be of your entire core team, please. Bonus points if you're all wearing your NEM t-shirts. So have fun with it. 2 to 3 pictures minimum, please. The more pictures we get, the better. As I said, we are trying to build a whole complete picture of your event, and what better way to do that than with photos themselves? Feedback. So I just spent a bunch of time talking to you about an event feedback form, but there are actually a few other ways that we can get some of that external from your team, external feedback. So we need from you at least 5 filled out participant surveys, event feedback forms, and or testimonials from people who were at your event. So again, we're using this to go through all the things I just mentioned, but reminder also is a way for us to validate the self-scores that you're giving yourself and just collect all that data, and you'll be amazed at what people are going to put on those surveys. Some very memorable information has been collected from the surveys. Bonus points too if they're OSET members. Again, always looking for that OSET NEM connection, OSET college actually connection, and then a video. So nothing to get, don't go crazy and create a full-length feature film here. We're looking for a short video, sort of 30 seconds to 3 minutes in length. We want it to be featuring your name, the date, logos, so the NEM, the OSET logo, your college logo, and then just have fun with it. Highlights of your event, maybe if you're worried about having it as a video, do it as a slideshow with a bunch of photos sort of laced together. Here is a good chance to tell us the story of your event. And then some other optional, we'll call them optional elements you can add to your post-event info package. Just, again, look at this as your opportunity to tell us more, to help us create that full, complete picture here. The more you can give us, the better. But we didn't want to overwhelm you, so these ones are optional. But consider taking some photos of your team prepping for the event. So a little hint here too is maybe when you're prepping for your event, this is a great way to get excited and generate some excitement with the event coming up. So post them on social media, people, whatever they're doing, putting up signs or posters or putting together kits, whatever they're doing. Snap a few pictures, put them up on your social media. People love to see what's coming up. Copies of any speeches or presentations that you have would be great. We'd love to have those if we can get them. We do have the blog on the NEM Ontario website. For those of you who haven't checked it out, I would highly encourage you. We're posting lots of great stuff on the blog right now. So if there's speeches, presentations, if those align with our theme and messaging guidelines, wonderful, bonus points. Some of the other things that we can put onto the NEM Ontario blog are personal reflections. Maybe there's some graduating members from your program. You can talk to them about what it means to them to receive their technology ring. I know we did a few of those type of profiles on the NEM Ontario blog last year, and it's really amazing for people to see and put a face and hear the stories from a real live person and make that connection. And any other elements or stories about what your story. Why are you proud to study engineering technology? How do you hope to shape the future? And what have you learned? I'm sure you'll surprise even yourselves by some of the things that you learn by participating in the College Challenge. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your stories. We did a webinar recently on storytelling, so I'd encourage you to go and check out the webinar, but we would love to hear that from you. So I just went through a whole lot of documentation. How are you going to get us all that information? Well, we've hopefully made it as simple as possible. So all that information, the judging scorecards, the participant surveys, any the event forms, post-event info packets, those all can be uploaded to your Dropbox folder. So team leads, you should have received an email from us in the last few weeks with your scorecards and some information about your funding, and there was a bunch of information in there, but one of the things we would have included was information about your Dropbox folder. If you didn't get that for some reason or you have a question about it, please let us know so we can make sure we get that resolved and that process goes as smoothly as possible. And then the other thing that we want you to make note of, pencils ready, mark it in your calendar right now, but there is a deadline for us to get all this information. And unfortunately for the challenge teams, it is a little bit tight, especially if your events are coming later in the month, but we need everything back by April the 3rd. And the reason is it takes us time to go through. We're asking for a lot of information from you, so it takes us time to go through all that information, put it all together, and pick the winner. And so we want to try and get that that information as quickly as possible so that we don't delay in being able to select the winner. So I am going to take a break from talking. I'm going to let Erica talk to you a little bit about the winner of the College Challenge last year in 2016. So if you have any questions about all that information I just downloaded to you, please don't hesitate. I highly encourage you to check out the NEM Ontario website. It's all available on the website. You can reach out to us. Thank you, and over to you, Erica.
Okay, great. Thank you, Becky. So we thought it would be a nice idea to give you a sense of what happened last year, at least a little snapshot of it. As I mentioned, the Centennial team, that team with the big check, they were the top-ranked team from last year. They put together a great event consisting of multiple parts And you can see here in this backdrop photo, they've actually got a Toronto City Councillor with them. This is Norm Kelly. They invited him and he showed up, and here he is holding a sign that says Innovators as one of their themes. So they find a neat way to visually represent some of the themes that they had. And that is to say they also pulled together a great team of people, got lots of support from their college. They invited some local high schools, so they had the youth outreach event as well, and put together a number of short, they called them TED-style talks, to inspire and inform people on various topics. So that said, they did a great job. We don't want to make you think that this is what you need to do to win, is to copy them exactly. However, we do think that there are things that we can learn from the different events that have gone on over the years. So remember at the beginning when we said our goal is to inspire the next generation and inform the general public. We want to see you working from an idea that inspires you, because if you're inspired and excited to work on the event the way that you designed it, your audience is going to pick up on that and their energy level is going to come up. So we want to say that we don't expect you to imitate other events, but you can learn from them, and there are things that you can integrate into your event from the previous events, previous success stories, that will be really beneficial to you, some things you might not have thought of, because chances are if you're organizing this year, this is probably your first, maybe your second time ever organizing an outreach event. So it's really good to tap into that previous experience and knowledge. So I'm going to recommend that you check out this website. So it's nemontario.ca/college-challenge. If you haven't already, please go ahead and click on the page, the button here that says 2016 Challenge Winners. You will see the top ranked events. Actually, you'll see all of the events and what their rankings were. And you will get comments from the judges who were there on the ground. So that's going to be the event feedback forms, what was said about the events, what they were best in. So Becky showed you a snapshot of what that compiled feedback looks like. Interestingly enough, no matter what the ranking of the team, we were able to find something that they did better than everybody else. And this isn't just us being flippant and saying, you know, everyone's a winner, everyone's good at something, but it really is about the fact that you're going to find different ways to express and to do your outreach. And we want to make sure that we're recognizing not just, you know, that the top ranked team is the only one that was any good. No, every event is a winner just by participating, just by, you know, reaching out and having that impact. We hope that you're really proud of that. And what other teams can learn, we want to make it, you know, how obvious can we be about the things that we would like other teams to imitate from what these teams did last year. So these are comments from last year. Again, this is 2016's data. And we think that it's really useful for you to have a look at what was done previously. This will give you some ideas and inspiration. And again, don't feel pressure that you have to imitate all the other events, but take the things that you feel would fit into your plan and run with them and make your event the best it can be. So this year, we were so pleased to have the biggest turnout ever. We had 18 teams from 10 colleges. And you can find those details if you go to nemontario.ca, go to that College Challenge section, and you will see the names and the events that are being planned across the province. So here we are. This is our contact information. There's me, that's Erica, and Becky that you heard from tonight. We've also got our co-op student, Jonathan, on board. You're welcome to reach out to us if you have any problems or questions. Just a reminder, if you're not already following us on social media, we encourage you to do that. We are very good social media buddies. We will share and retweet and make sure that you get your fair share of exposure on those platforms. Check out the hashtag NEM 2017. It's not even March yet, and it's already starting to take off. So see you online. Good luck with your events. We want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be part of this really important celebration of engineering and technology.